Hello, thank you for your interest in open data. The community is an essential part of any open data program for any local government. Today we're going to cover a couple of things about how open data works at the City of Evanston. We're going to define it and also talk about what we've done since it's been launched. We'll show how a resident can create an account. We'll walk through filtering and visualizing a data set that exists on the open data portal. And then we'll share some examples that are provided on the Open Data Portal for residents' edification, as well as a deeper dive into the data, and then ways that you can remain involved in the City of Evanston's Open Data program. So, why do we do open data here at the City of Evanston? What does it even mean? Open data is public in whole or in part. It's free, it's online, and it's non-proprietary. So when I say non-proprietary, it means you can use it in any program. You don't have to have a special program or buy a special program to analyze the data. It's the Open Data program started at the City of Evanston in 2015. And in 2016, we moved to our new platform, which is now our current platform, Socrata, which is used by local governments across the globe, including our peers in Chicago, Cook County, and Naperville, and others. And in 2017, the City Council formalized a policy that said that we would be open by default. So that meant that as we're putting out data in support of a policy and reports, that we would make efforts to make sure that it's up on the Open Data Portal. And we continue to work on that effort now by training staff, publicizing what exists in the Open Data Portal, and opening that dialogue between residents and local government staff. So part of that is setting goals for what we want with open data here. We want to make sure that we improve efficiency, that we align the data development and sharing with what the city's strategic goals are, as well as the industry standards. Most importantly, and this is what's happening now with this training, is that we want to lower the barrier for staff and residents to access quality data. And by doing that, staff and residents can have access to this data, and we increase the transparency of the city programs and projects. We have internal staff teams that are looking at data at an organization-wide level and being able to help set policies that will work across the organization, not just for one department. So let's take a look at the Open Data Portal. So the Open Data Portal is at data.cityofevanston.org. At the Open Data Portal, you can view a variety of data sets currently organized by the STAR community ratings. We are looking at ways to maybe organize this by departments. But the STAR community ratings was a certification program that the city went through in previous years. And it's a great way, at least, to categorize data based on topics. So if you were clicking on the built environment data tile, you would be able to look at data sets that are related to that area. And if you wanted to just go right into the data catalog, you select Browse Data. And then on the left, it gives you different ways to sort through this data. So official means anything that has been published by a City of Evanston staff member. Community is anyone, such as a resident, who is creating an account and has created a filtered view or visualization based on an official data set. The categories are based on departments, and then view types means what kind of visualization you're going to take a look at. Those tags provide an even more granular way to look at the different data sets. If you go here to the middle, you'll see some featured data sets, and those are just ways to pull up some data sets either have been recently published or might be relevant to the time, whether it's seasonal, and are easy to change based on the different needs. If you go right here to the middle part, you can just really sort through data sets either through a variety of ways, alphabetical, most accessed, recently added, updated, whatever you might want to look at. So if you're interested in learning more and diving into this data set, let's create an account. you'll select sign in, and you don't have an account yet, sign up. You'd include your email address. You can create a display name for whatever you want. You could do your own name. You could do a name maybe related to data, Evanston data resident, whatever you might be. You can look at create a password, click on the I to see what restrictions apply, confirm password, I'm a robot, and then you've created your account. You're ready to sign in. So I've created a community account, so I will use that to sign in. So once I sign in, I see this profile view, my name, my username. I can select a picture if I want to, and then I can see what assets that I've created, and if something has been shared to me. No one's shared anything to me yet. And then here's some great resources from Socrata, the platform that we use, explaining how the product works and be able to ask questions. So I could go in, select Browse Data, and I could look for a data set that I really want to be able to filter based on my own interests. So I could click into Evanston Police Activity. And this is what you see when you click into any data set is this primer view, where you see the name of the data set, a brief description, when it was last updated, and who provides it. So that's the official source. A little bit more detail. You could contact the data set owner. In this case, it's me, and so it's associated with an email address, though, and that actually will go directly to the police subject matter expert who's worked with me on all the police data sets. If you want more information, you can go to the source link. It tells me how many rows are in it, and then number of columns. Here is a description field where we could include, well, what does this column mean if it's not obvious from the title? And then I can see related content, which is any visualizations that have been created based on this. If I go to view data, I could see a tabular view of the data set. I might be interested in only data from, say, 2019. So I could select filter, call received date and time, and I could say is after. Get the calendar, and I'll say this. And so then I could say I only have 2019 data for police activity. So I'll say 2019 Evanston Police Department activity. And it adds that community marker to say that it's been created by the community, not by the city of Evanston. If I feel like this is something I want to use, I can select publish. Then I can go and visualize it. I'll launch a new visualization. So now that I've published it, I might be interested in visualizing it. Just go to visualize, launch new visualization. I can select a column, and perhaps I'm interested in how things have fallen for each day of the week. So I could see that Tuesday was the most active day throughout the year, that most of the activity has happened that way. I can group based on what the nature code description is, and so that's what type of police activity. And so they can see the various things that happen each day. I know that directed area patrol is the biggest activity, and that's really police beats. And this might be harder to view because it's pretty spread out. So I can select stacked. And then each of these kind of fall into a column based on the day. I could use this to adjust my scale, or say sitting by label. I could go and select the title and say Evanston 2019 Evanston Police Activity. by day of the week. Change the color if I would like to. Show the value labels if that's relevant, but I think because there are so many blocks that it doesn't add as much value as we'd like it to. And then, access title showing what each access means. Then for, what was I going to say, activities. Then I might want to show my legend inline, so I can show it to the right, and then people can see what each color means. So that's a simple way to create a visualization. You can save this draft, and then I would name it the same name as I did for the title of the chart. And so that's one way that you can take advantage of the data that is in the open data portal and be able to identify things that might be of interest to you. So I'm going to talk about some ways that we display data, not only by putting it on the open data portal, but then taking it the next step, providing that context, providing that narrative that tells you what you're looking at. So this is the Evanston Police Dashboard. Some of you may be familiar with it from a previous iteration. And we're using a tool called Stories, which really adds a nice element of the narrative behind it. What's the context for what you're looking at? We can include a video that's from the presentation that we did back in May 2019, where Commander Glue walked through the data and explained it in great detail. And so that's a really great companion to going through this data set. We have data categorized by different types and visualizations and broken out. You can go through all the different data sets, whether you go through by scrolling down, or if you want to, you can click on the visualization and see and hover over it. You can see the filters that are being used, so you know what time period you're looking at, and you can also change those filters if you would like to look at a larger or smaller set of data. And then if you want, you can also do the presentation mode, and I click that right in the bottom right, and then go through and see it in a format that's very similar to a PowerPoint. The next story is at the budget, and we know that that's a critical piece of understanding how our community is planning for the next year and potentially for the year ahead. And we are so excited to have this tool because we were able to do side-by-side comparisons of different visualizations, and again offer this interactive way to hover over and understand what how much information or how much money goes into different parts of the budget and how it's funded. You get that context right next to it, and just a really brief way for residents to walk through and understand, and not just residents but staff as well, as how some decisions are made. So that's just two stories that we used to really collect and build on data sets that we currently have in the open data portal, and we hope to do more in the future. So speaking of the future, we want to work with you. We want to build on the interest that you have from the actual in-person resident training. I know that we got a lot of great ideas about how we can make the data more valuable and work with you to get different data sets up on the open data portal. But we really encourage you to work with us on open data. Share the data that you develop and find, and then suggest data sets that you would like to see. And, come visit. Come to the additional open data trainings that we plan on having. But we thank you again for your interest, and please reach out if you have any questions. It's hbeata@cityofevanston.org.